Welcome back. With this video, we're going to create your CV. So let's get started. Imagine you're an intern working for the Human Resources Department of a large company. You've got the job of sorting through hundreds of CVs. You've got to quickly decide if a CV is worth sending to a recruiter and to who you should send it. Of course, you're not going to send a CV to a recruiter that has no merit. You can't waste anyone's time. Recruiters are very busy people. They only have time to review promising candidates. In a few short seconds, you'll need to identify the value of each CV, many of which will simply end up in the garbage bin. You're going to be very, very selective. Take a look at this document. Now, you're not going to send this CV to anyone. It's going directly in the trash. Right away, it's impossible to identify who it's addressed to. Now, look at the same document, this time with a title added. With this document, you can identify who it is intended for, and it's someone dealing with the Indian business operations. If, on the other hand, only the author had featured their name, their address, or similar information like in the title, then it would be going directly in the trash. A title including a clear indication of the job position and the relevant department for which it's addressed, that allows the first-time reader to understand who to send the document to. Now look at this document, which has both a title and highlighted keywords. This document makes it even easier for the reader to quickly identify who it's addressed to. Plus they can see the content in harmony with the title. The keywords give the reader a quick summary of its contents. Okay, it's true that this document requires a lot of changes to make it a successful CV, but you can see clearly how these few adjustments make it more attractive to the reader. In the Human Resources Department, nobody is going to give your CV much time at all. In a few seconds or less, a decision will be made. Keep the CV and send it to a recruiter, or throw it in the trash. Right, what do you need to do then? Write the job title in bold fonts as your CV's title, and use keywords related to the job in bold throughout your CV. Do not use capital letters or bold fonts for company names that are not known outside of France, or for dates. Pause the video to make changes right now to your CV. Take a look at this CV. It doesn't completely respect the formats required. Now look at this altered version. The candidate's competencies are clearer. Avoid rich colours like blue, green or red. Use grayscale to avoid creating visual distraction. Avoid graphic backgrounds, logos, photos and similar visual distractions. The only time you would use these types of graphics is for posts which require creative talents, such as for artistic positions, graphic developer positions, that sort of thing. Pause the video if you require to make any changes. Now let's review the core CV elements in detail. Firstly, the length of your CV. Now in Asia, the length of a CV is not as critical. You can write a CV with several pages. And do include references, at least 2 references to make the legitimacy claims. In Europe, the US or Australia, however, a CV is a resume, and you should avoid using something more than 1 page, unless you have extensive experience, like 15 years plus experience. An exception to this rule is for the public service, where more extensive CVs are required. This is generally the case worldwide. Like we emphasised earlier, your project should be presented in capital letters and bold at the head of your CV. Under your title, you can add a pitch, which points out the motivations that you have for the position, and put those in italics. The photo must be the same that you used in LinkedIn. A photo is essential for Asia, and a photo is, well, expected in Europe, but not for English-speaking countries. Do not include a photo. Concerning your contact details, if you're seeking a job abroad, delete your local address and telephone number. International recruiters will generally consider international contact details as a reason to eliminate candidates. An international address or telephone sounds an alarm that the process will be more complicated. It'll create administrative problems making contact. So if you're in Europe and wanting to apply for a job in the US, only include digital contact details like your email address, LinkedIn, and Skype address. For English-speaking countries, make sure you eliminate the age, gender, and family status. These are considered discriminatory. In Asian and Latin American countries, however, these elements must be included. In terms of your CV structure, you should follow the same outline as your LinkedIn profile. Make sure these elements are presented in order: professional experience, educational history, skills and abilities, and similarly, chronologically ordered in the same way that it is in LinkedIn. The most recent experiences are placed first and begin with information with the title of the job progressing through in order to the importance of details. Work with the details you've already developed in your LinkedIn profile. Draw attention to key information by using bolds for titles and keywords, and the name of the company should always be in italics. And if you have a student job to talk about because it demonstrates a relevant skill and ability, do not include these in the work experience section. Instead, put them in the skills and abilities. Try to group the competencies that you're talking about. Pause the video to make any changes necessary now to your CV. Moving on, let's now talk about your educational experience. Again, start with the most recent and most important information. Be instructive in your descriptions and do not use acronyms. These are country specific. Draw attention to the key experiences, course elements, and how these are relevant to the targeted job. Present the name of the degree in bold. Add the name of the university in italics. Then add a brief description, adding bold keywords where appropriate to highlight how what you've learned is relevant to the new job. Finally, when adding in your relevant skills and abilities, make sure you are concise and mention only those things which are really interesting and valuable for the new future job. Do not add in generalities like Microsoft or PowerPoint. These words do not specifically tell the reader what real computer skills you have. And if you're going to mention sporting activities, go further than mentioning the name of the sport. Include a mention as to why the practice of that sport is relevant to the targeted job. For example, playing in a team sport in a competitive situation can demonstrate your ability to work with others and to succeed facing challenges. Once you've completed your CV draft, reread it. Think carefully about the economy of what you've written. Have you positioned the important information and related each point to the criteria of the job? And don't forget to proofread your document. Make sure it is absolutely error-free. Your CV will not get you the job, but it will get you a chance to be noticed, and with that you'll stand out and perhaps be called in for an interview. Your CV is a first touch, and first impressions count.